When doing these yearly analyses, I start by looking back at last year's. Doing so is handy for the stats and graphs, but it also serves as a snapshot of where I was and how I felt about things a year ago, something that's easily forgotten, little by little, day by day. In my head at least, 2019 has not been a successful year. 3kliksphilip hasn't innovated at all. I merely produce content on that channel and it continues to be watched, but subscriber growth is falling more than ever. This is to be expected of a mature channel with a player base dating back years. But I'm sad about it because I started the year with so much enthusiasm about the game. Danger Zone had just been released and I thought it would usher in a new and enthusiastic player base. And while player numbers are as high as ever, I really feel most of them are just interested in the esports side of things, which has never been the bit that has engaged me. Just from the comments I've received, I've felt that there's been less interest in playing the game than ever before. And, judging from the reception the game's first operation in 2 years has received, yeah, people don't like playing it anymore. Not good for 3kliksphilip. Meanwhile, 2kliksphilip has been a much more interesting story. He spent the first half of the year constructing the biggest, best video that he's ever made. Statistically, I would have been much better off simply producing regular content throughout that time, but it has been so worth it for me. Even now, I regularly revisit bits of that video. I'm proud to have finally made a video that lives up to childhood expectations. You know when you embark on a project and imagine it's going to be the greatest thing ever? I've had that from this. It was not fun to work on, and it wasn't until it was released that I could appreciate it. But since then, it has been worth every minute I invested into it, and it means so much to see positive comments. Not just nice ones, but comments that I know mean it left a profound impact on its viewers, who probably didn't expect it when clicking on it in the first place. If anything, the video turned out better than I had expected, and whenever I'm asked what my best video is, I will proudly point people to this one for years to come. The second half of the year was a return to business as normal, but it didn't feel like it. Having had a break of so many months, I didn't feel like the same 2kliksphilip when I returned. My editing skills had leveled up immensely, but for a while I struggled to remember what kind of content I was making before I started with Odgrub, and how I went about coming up with the ideas for those in the first place. Maybe that's a good thing. For years I've promised that I'm going to start making series. Why bother to think up new content every video when viewers prefer to have more of what they know and love already? In my head, I imagined series would involve producing weekly how will he die kind of content, but I ended up making a number of trilogies instead. Odgrub was a trilogy, AI upscaling was a trilogy, real-time destruction was a trilogy, Half-Life was a trilogy. Literally. It might not be the place to say it, but isn't it nice to have a new Half-Life game to look forward to? I don't care if it's called Alex instead of 3, I know the gameplay will be worth it, and now I've got my VR all set up, I'm super excited about it. All of these trilogies of mine came about naturally. I just made a video, realised it was popular, and then set out to make more for it. It's how I found success on YouTube in the first place, all those years ago, so it's nice to know the approach still works. Every year, November and December are the months that earn YouTubers the most. I've already made a video talking about how great I was in November, producing a record amount of content and doing really well. December, by comparison, was a flop. I expected it with a holiday taking up the first half of the month, but family tragedy and an extra long Christmas break meant I only had time to produce 4 videos for the most lucrative of YouTubing months, instead relying heavily on scheduled content I had made the month before to tide me over. Somehow I still ended up with more views on my channels than I did in the last quarter of 2018, but it could have been so much more. Which bodes well for the future, I guess. YouTube's been rolling out a new UI and it's still really horrible. You upload a video and it wants you to go through 6 screens before it's ready. Previously it was all done on the same screen and could be adjusted as and when I pleased. But all those changes are nothing compared to the new analytics page. The information it's trying to show is all well and good, but it's trying to force me to view it in a certain way with pop-ups and all kinds of annoying stuff, incompatible with my natural way of browsing websites. Also, it's managed to lose a year of data that was kind of important for this video, and every time I switched YouTube account, it would bring me back to the main page and I'd have to set up the analytics again. Horrible. Luckily, for now, the old analytics is still available, and it worked flawlessly. So let's check out how my channels really did in 2019. Views per quarter puts things into perspective. I may be most excited about 2kliksphilip, but 3kliksphilip is still where the money's at. Even when I'm not producing exciting or clever content, people still want to know about the latest updates to CSGO, and it delivers a reassuringly consistent amount of views. Annoyingly though, the first quarter of each year outperforms the last, which is when I normally put in the most effort and have the potential to earn the most money from the views. And 2kliksphilip got a bit of a kick in the teeth by getting more views in quarter 1 than in quarter 2 and 3. despite not releasing a single video during that period. I was hoping that The Ebony Warrior, released in Q2, would spike my views and subscribers, but it's been more of a slow burner, continuing to grow and to attract new viewers to my channels. It's just that that kind of thing can't be seen here. And of course the last quarter did really well thanks to a number of hit videos being released, and thanks to stuff like Half-Life Alyx being announced. Views are good, but subscribers are depressing. Much worse than I had hoped for from both channels. 3kliksphilip grew by fewer than 100,000 new subscribers for the first time since 2014, and if 2016 hadn't been so bad, then I'd have said the same for 2kliksphilip. Curiously, subscribers lost also dropped for both channels, which isn't something I'd have expected. 2kliksphilip's lower subscriber count is understandable because he was only releasing content for half the year, but 3kliksphilip's slowed subscriber growth is more sinister. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. The first hit came when YouTube closed its gaming app. This is something I never used, nor was particularly aware of. But clearly, 3kliksphilip relied on it for new viewers, because the subscriber growth hasn't been the same since it closed. The impact was felt overnight, and made even gaining a few hundred subscribers a day a huge challenge. And the second conspiracy is when YouTube switched to rounded numbers. Something that nobody wanted, and it's ruined sites like Social Blade, which I used to find really handy for assessing my subscriber growth on an hourly basis. Who cares if it wasn't 100% accurate? At least it worked. Now I feel blind for a few days after a new video, but I've also noticed that since this terrible change, my subscriber growth has dropped even more. And I'm not alone in this. I'd say about half of YouTubers I benchmark myself against have suffered the same as me since this change, while the other half have benefited. It feels like the rules have changed and I'm still not familiar with what I'm meant to be doing. If I want growth for 3kliksphilip, I think I'll need to change the kind of content that I'm making and to focus on longer videos. That Black Site video I made last January did very well, being the year's most successful video and scoring me more subscribers than a month's worth of smaller, less popular ones would. It was just a shame that the year peaked on its first video. I think I could turn 3kliksphilip's fortunes around. But should I? It's doing exactly what I want it to. It's providing me with a stable income from videos that I don't mind making. I don't want to produce esports content just because it's popular. Remember, 95% of my time on YouTube is spent working on the videos. I don't want to hate that 95%. When it comes to growth and future prospects, I'm looking to 2kliksphilip as I think there's a lot more potential there. It's just a shame that I didn't quite get to 1 million subscribers with 3kliksphilip. Just for fun, I like seeing how many of this year's videos make it to the top of all time list for my channels. It's never a fair comparison to do since videos released 5 years ago have had 5 years to amass views, while many of this year's have only had months or even weeks. Still, it helps me to see which of my videos were the most successful and that makes me happy. So there. This year, just one video made it into the top 10 viewed of all time, and it was on kliksphilip. Somewhat ironically called The Video That Almost Wasn't, and it was about a video that 2kliksphilip had made. I think if anything, this goes to show just how hard it is for a new video to compete with older content. Last year, only 2kliksphilip's channel got a new top 10 most viewed video, that being Odgrub's first outing. I actually think that 2019 has been better than 2018 for kliksphilip and 2kliksphilip. 2kliksphilip's most viewed video of the year may have only had 1 million views, but that was the teardown video, released just 3 weeks ago, so it had barely any time to amass any views. I think that one, the Odgrub video, and a few in the same series will continue to grow for the foreseeable future. 2kliksphilip's best videos are like investments. But 3kliksphilip's showing on this list is pitiful. Just 4 of the videos 3kliksphilip made in 2019 made it into the top 100 most viewed of all time on that channel. Just so you know, the cutoff for that is 800,000 views, and growing daily, so a lot still did well, but just not that well. You can't have it all. 3kliksphilip has gained more views this year than last year, and like I've said before, is a stable channel with a large, reliable following. It's just that this doesn't make it look good when only viewing the most successful content he's produced. I've had my suspicions about YouTube's algorithm for a while, but 2kliksphilip's November video spree confirmed it to me. I was able to manufacture content that I knew would be popular. The requirements are as follows. The longer it is, the better. It needs a person in the thumbnail, and it needs a title that baits people into clicking on it, preferably stealing from existing popular videos. Questions do well, as do lots of capital letters. It's tragically predictable. All 2kliksphilip needs to do now is to produce that kind of content more frequently, and I do believe that YouTube's algorithm will reward him for it. It sucks, but it is what it is. Clickbait works, and if more people watch and like a video that's clickbaity, then where's the harm? Surely that's better than making stuff that's going to remain unwatched. And if I'm making good content, maybe a clickbait title is a small price to pay. I'm just aware that my principles are slowly being eroded by YouTube over the years. Instead of starting with the video, I actually think I'd be better off planning an attractive title and thumbnail and to generate a long and coherent video from that. I'll experiment with it this year. Who knows, maybe this new approach will improve my content. I sort of tried this new thing with my VR video at the very end of the year, but it does disappoint me that I'm having to do this. I like the old-fashioned attitude that there's loyalty between a YouTuber and his audience, but what's the significance of subscribers if they're still as selective about the stuff they're going to watch? What if I'm wrong to believe my audience would prefer non-clickbaity content? Surely my success as a YouTuber is the most accurate measurement of how well I'm doing with my content. There was a time when there wasn't much difference between 2 and 3 kliksphilip, but now they've never been more different. While 2 kliksphilip's considering shaking things up, I've almost given up with 3 kliksphilip's growth. I accept the channel has reached a great size, and has an established viewer base that wants a particular kind of content, and I'm happy just to run with that for as long as they're happy to watch it. But I won't change the content to something I don't want to do. The worst thing I could do on 3 kliksphilip would be to alienate my current, loyal viewer base. My last video of the year was an act of defiance. It was December, my last chance to earn good money from a popular video, and I chose to make it a tribute to Sid Mead. Obviously I didn't want, nor could have predicted his passing, but I'd rather have made a meaningful video about him than an obvious cash grab by a randomly chosen topic picked just to generate views. So far, the Sid Mead video has been the least viewed video the channel has received in recent memory, but I don't care. It's a video with heart and appreciation for somebody who I feel I have let down by not revealing the story he shared with me any sooner. And I like to think it shows that 3 kliksphilip remembers what he is and isn't willing to go down the clickbait path just yet. So what do I expect for 2020, and where will I be at the end of the year? I'm going to keep the same subscriber milestones as I did last year. 2 kliksphilip just scraped 500,000 thanks to a good end of year, so I think 600,000 would be a great goal to aim for this time. And I hope that, even with his slowed growth, 3 kliksphilip will reach 900,000 subscribers this year. So why not make that 920,000 and to see how it goes? I'm not going to make any more promises than that, and I'm sorry I'm not more optimistic about things. An analysis video like this one seems like a great idea when things are going well. You're able to talk about all your clever plans and how they're all paying off. But when your tried and tested approach to YouTubing stops working quite so well, and every year you're forced to lower your expectations about the future, it certainly changes what it's like to analyse stuff. In fact, it's probably more important to do it than ever, and is a real test of whether a YouTuber's got what it takes to get through the tougher times once the initial boom of success has faded. I need to re-watch the video I made after my November month. I feel like 3 action-packed months like that this year would do wonders for my success. But it's a big commitment, and I'd rather give myself the freedom to choose as and when I will do that this year. I'm always worried about burning out by working too much, but November showed me that it can be an enjoyable, productive experience that I can even look back at fondly. All I need to do now is to make future Philip proud for next year's anal.